knocking down the 3/4 inch 4x8 sheet of imported birch for the cabinet carcass, and I did shoot a little bit of video. It's tough to shoot video and work at the same time. I need to get used to that. I ripped the sheet on my table saw and broke it down that way, but because my shop is so full right now, I did all the cross cutting. I added about 1/4 inch and just took my circular saw, made a square line across, and cut it. So, but now to have really, really good edges, I'm taking them back to the table saw and cutting them to length. So that's what's going to happen now. Okay, and that now I have both gables cut to width and to height, and the next thing I'm going to do is start doing the machining on those. So the next time you see me, I'll probably be set up on the table saw with the dado head in it and cutting dados. I like to join things with dado and rabbet joints. I'm just not a pocket screw woodworker. There are some good things about it, and I'm not knocking those who are. But a lot of the fasteners that I'm installing will not be seen anyway. So I can screw things from the end. I can cut a dado, capture the wood, and put a screw in. It's all won't be seen won't be seen anyway, and nobody's going to ever know the difference. So that's why I'm doing what I do. Okay, well, I've got the gables cut, and the base is rough cut. I haven't cut it to length yet. I don't know if you can see this. The sun is a beautiful day out there today, but it's shining in my window here, which is going to make this a little bit more difficult than I'd hoped. I'm not used to yet working with the camera in the shop, and I tend to start things and say, oh, I should be shooting that. So I set my dado head and cut a 1/4 inch groove. This is in the back of the cabinet. Now what's going to happen is I'm going to cut this out here, and there's going to be support pieces that go in behind the cabinet back that you can attach this to the wall to. There's going to be one here and one down here. Those I'll probably cut with a router and a pattern later. So there isn't, being that this is drawers, I don't have to drill any holes for shelf pins or anything like that. So pretty simple construction. There's going to be a 3/4 inch dado along the bottom here that the bottom shelf is going to go into. Now, what I've done is you can see my little table saw island here. And the other thing is, I should maybe finish one thought before I move on. My table saw island here, I have a dedicated dado saw in this end, so I can set it to do whatever I want. And I cut over there, so that's really handy. I'm going to be cutting as many of the 1/4 inch grooves now as I can, because that way the table saw is set perfectly for all of this, and they're all cut the same, so when I put them together, it's all going to line up nicely. Okay, so let's make the 1/4 inch dado that the back will slide into in the bottom. I guess what I could do is cut this off a little bit and just run the sheeting down and nail it on from the back. That would work, but I'm going to cut a groove. Okay, let's do it. And I got the good side. I'm going to cut the groove in the good side because I want people to see the good side. It's going to go to the inside of the cabinet. too much junk in here. Things are falling out. Always a good idea to wait with taking things off the saw until the blade is stopped. But you see now, that's going to line up perfectly. And that's why I cut bagels the way I do. This is easy. This is only a couple of pieces, but I think it's important to set your blade, set your fence, and do all the cutting you can so that everything stays in easy alignment. Okay? We'll keep moving along. Okay, I took the liberty of changing the dado head to it's just shy of 3/4 of an inch, which plywoods tend to be just a little bit under their stated dimension. I did a test cut in this piece of pine. And okay, I put some masking tape on. I'm going to try to control that tear out a little bit more. The other thing I could do is lower the blade, just cut through the outer veneer and then set it to final depth. But nobody's ever going to see this, so if there's a wee little bit of chip out, so be it. Okay, we're going to make another cut. Furnace is turning on now. That's always wonderful. Affects the sound quality really, really nicely. Yeah, it's still not great. I've slowed down. I noticed with these 3/4 inch cuts that there's kind of a loping sound. I'm wondering if my blade isn't a wee bit out of balance. It's a cheap dado head, maybe not the best one to have purchased for this, but oh, of course, the side that nobody will see is actually pretty good. Isn't that the way it always works? But anyway, I'm not too concerned about this. By the time I get these things assembled and sanded a little bit and spray finish on them, while I am disappointed with the cut quality, I think in the end it's going to be fine. So that's one of the reasons maybe pocket hole joinery is a little, mind you, a pocket hole jig is just as expensive as a good dado head. So we'll work with it, I'll see, and maybe this will be the last project I do with this one. Okay, well, time to address the elephant in the room. I made a mistake. I hate making mistakes. See, there's a ritual around making mistakes. So once you realize you've made the mistake, then there's the mandatory 5 to 10 minutes of self-loathing and berating your person, which I think is important for the healing process. But eventually you need to figure out a way to fix it. And I have repaired one side already. Yeah, I was an idiot. I was too busy focusing on shooting video that what I did is I cut the wrong side of the dado when I made this notch here, and that's the problem. So I should have not cut this section out, and I unfortunately did. Now I'm fortunate with this cabinet that, okay, this is the gable that will be seen, but there's going to be an 1/8 oak veneer applied over this, so in the end, nobody will see it. I'll forget about it. Nobody will ever know. But when you make a mistake on something you're building, like I say, you need to go through the necessary phase of self-loathing and self-anger. But once that's over, find a way to fix it. If this was a critical cabinet, I am really quite fussy. I would have made a new piece. But this cabinet with the oak veneer on the other side and the oak facing on the front, nobody's going to ever see this. So I got away with this one, but I was a little lucky. Okay, well, let's keep. And what I should have done is taken the old stuff off, but for this, it's gonna be okay. Oh, there's also a little bit of dust on it. And while I'm at it, I'm just gonna double check my measurement. Okay, that's 4 1/8. That is a little far. I decided to make these 4 inches after all, because I want to use this jig when I build cabinets next year. So that's why I'm doing this. So my router's set, plunge router, and boy, I hope you can see this. And we're gonna start. There we go. Okay, I like to leave the router in the cut until it's the bit has stopped revolving. That way you don't damage the jig when you lift it up. Okay, so this is what I was after. And although this piece isn't the right size, it's gonna fit in there like that. The 1/4 inch is gonna come in here, and we're gonna have a nice clean cabinet back. Okay, it's time to cut the bottom shelf to length. I'm gonna do that. Be careful when you make these long cuts with very little against the fence. It can be a little unstable. You'll notice when I cut, I'm not gonna watch the blade at all, I'm gonna watch the fence, because I think that's what's important. And here we go. There we go. I think that's going to be good. The next thing for this is at somewhere approximately 12 inches, there's going to be a dado going through that I can join the partition for the base cabinet. Okay, onward and upward. Okay, here we are. The last thing I need to do, I cut this thing to length. I need to put a dado where the divider is going to go. What I did, I don't know how effective it's going to be. What I should really be doing is taking a finer cut with the first pass and then raising the blade. But since this isn't really going to be visible when the cabinet is working, I guess I'm saying I'm prepared to accept a wee little bit of chip out. I've also got this taped now, so we'll see how that works. But anyway, we're going to make a cut and away we go. Make sure it's not touching the blade. Okay, let's see how that worked. You're going to see this when I see it, so come on. I can live with that. Well, not as good on that side, but that side is going to be in the drawer side, so that'll be okay. Yeah, I've got some tune-up to do on some of this equipment. I noticed the saw is loping a little bit when I cut. Now I put a new belt and a new motor on this saw in summer, and I've only used it a couple times since, so I've got some work to do. But of course it's working good enough for me to keep going, so I'll probably do that. All right, it's a new day in the shop. I worked on this on Monday, it's now Wednesday. Yesterday I spent basically trying to get the shop cleaned up enough to host my Tuesday afternoon class of homeschooled woodworkers. So I volunteered to teach a class for them, and it's a lot of fun. Got great kids to work with. The adults seem to really be happy with everything, so that's awesome. Getting back to my bathroom vanity, I actually thought I was out of material last day, and I think I shot a little bit of video stating as such, which you'll probably never see now. But I realized when I cleaned up my shop on yesterday, that I actually had a partial piece of a sheet that's going to be just enough to finish off what I need to do. So what I'm working on today, let's see if I can reach over and show you. I hadn't cut a toe kick yet, so that's here now. And really the only reason I set the cabinet together was just so that I could have the pieces and set them up and make sure that nothing would get lost and nothing would get damaged. It wasn't really ready to go together. So I have to cut a groove in the bottom of the bottom shelf to put this in. And then in the front, I'm going to do, let's see, this. Yes. So the front's going to have 1.5 inches. And I think I explained that the other day, just to get a little bit of clearance between the bottom of the granite, that's what I've planned for countertop, and then the top of the openings. So it gives it just a little bit of space. So that's going to go in like that. I have to make that yet. And I'll probably have to redesign the middle panel a little bit, but that's minor. And on the back of the cabinet, I'm going to put a strip in on the flat like this, attached to the back, so that there's something to mount the countertop to when we get that far. So this should be the finishing off of the casework today. I have one more to cut, so I'm going to do that quickly, and then I'm going to take the cabinet apart and assemble it. I'm not sure how much of that I'm going to show. I think what I need to do is get to the editing side of this and see how it looks so I can learn for the future. Okay, we're going to turn the saw on and make a cut. Okay, that should be the pieces ripped that I need, and this is my leftover pieces, so that's always coming in handy for other things. Just going to put this up against my cabinet there. One thing I like, and I know there's some modern table saw manufacturers that have started to do it, I really like on the unifence that I can switch over to what I refer to as the low fence option. It's awesome. So I think there are a few saw manufacturers out there now that are adding that onto their fences, which I think is a great idea. Okay, we're gonna take some things apart and cut some grooves, and away we go. Just going to take the corner out. I routed this, and just going to take that corner out with a chisel. You can see that my shop really isn't set up quite right for video. Getting a lot of sun glare on here, so, but the sun is good. I like it. And there we go. That's that. Okay, well, I got all the machining done in the gable ends. So the top part here, my countertop supports and all that stuff is in. I really like to use a rabbit joinery for this. I mean, there's a million ways to do it, and I'm not saying that what I'm doing is the best way or the right way. Do whatever you do. I think what I'm trying to convince people to do here is pick up some tools and do some of your own work. It's not that hard. Okay, so I'm gonna route a groove, with the dado head, put a groove in the bottom, and then the cabinet will go together temporarily, because I think right now my thoughts are that I'm going to spray the panels individually and then assemble it. Right now, that's my thought. Okay, see you later. Okay, well, I was doing a little bit of work off camera, and I pretty much have everything cut. In fact, for the carcass now, or the cabinet, I do have everything cut. I'm going to do a little bit of a sub-assembly here, and I've got the glue applied already. We're just going to put this on top of there like that. Oh, let's flip that around. Oh, it's not going to matter. I wasn't thinking there. Just make sure it's even. I'm just going to put a few brads in to hold it in place. Maybe throw a couple clamps on after. Wipe off the extra glue. I guess I'm going to have to do it with my finger because I don't have any cloth here. Okay, that's going to do. None of this will be seen in the end. Just trying to put a few clamps on it just to hold it in position. I shouldn't have clamps going the opposite ways, but we're going to. This top isn't going to be seen at all once the countertop's on, so there we go. So the top part's glued. Now I'm going to let that dry, and then I think I'm going to tack the whole thing together again just to keep the parts out of the way. All right, well, I got it reassembled or kind of tacked together. It worked out pretty well. It's been a great experience building this cabinet in my shop. I've had my shop here for many years, and it's been equipped for many years. But when I was working, I worked in the school shop, and I did nothing out here. So some of the tools that I'm running now, I have not used much before. So. But in the end, I think it's going to be okay. I kind of like what's happened. The faces, in other words, all of the faces, everything you see here, that's going to get covered with oak. And that is really a part of the carcass build, but I don't have that oak yet. I'll pick that up on Friday when I'm in the city. And boy, it's so full, it's so full in here. The right side is going to have some 1/8 inch oak plywood applied to it after I've taken apart and put finish on everything and then reassembled it finally, and then I'll put that panel on right at the very end. So it's coming. Sorry about the lathe in the picture here. So far it's been fine. I'm looking forward to getting it done, and yeah, so far so good. Well, everybody, that kind of brings the carcass construction of my cabinet video to an end for now. We will continue on this project. I'm hoping that in the next week or so I can get this done, depending on what else is going on, because I really need to get into the part where going to be an upcoming video. I'm just going to show you our bathroom and where we're starting. Much to the chagrin of my wife, but yeah, so we'll show you where we're going. And who knows, in between here we may do another safety video or whatever. So thanks for bearing with me while I learn how to do this. Please like, share with your friends, especially your woodworking friends. Subscribe, that'd be great. It doesn't cost you anything. If you would like to see something changed or whatever, put it in the comments. I'd be interested. So yeah, it's kind of going the way I thought it would. So okay, with that in mind, we will see you in the next chapter, and have a good weekend.